Hello, and welcome back to the Talk Nats podcast. I am your host, Kevin Nibley, and we are sponsored by Old DC Apparel. Head on over to shopoldDC.com. You can get the latest and greatest in original DC fan gear. They have some new baseball stuff up for the spring, as well as a couple of Beer Snake shirts. The mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, was spotted wearing one of their hats in public. So, if the mayor likes it, pretty cool, right? Use the code TalkNatsPod at checkout for 10% off your order. As always, you can find us on YouTube at TalkNats Podcast. That's also our handle on X. And you can find the audio only version of this show on any major podcast platform. All right. So another good road trip, 4-2, taking both series from the White Sox and the Mets, losing the first game of both, and then rallying to win the final two. Have to be feeling pretty good about the team. The pitching has stabilized, aside from Zach Littell, who's a disaster. Given up 13 home runs already. Pretty brutal. I was actually someone who liked the Littell signing. That was a name that I was eyeing all off season as someone I thought might help stabilize a rotation at a reasonable cost. And early returns are that I was wrong. Looks like a pretty rough signing. Going to be hard to keep throwing him out there every 5 days if it's going to be this bad. But otherwise, have to like the road trip. Nats coming home at 15-17, pretty close to 500. Last episode, we were talking with my good friend Bryan King about the first month of the season, and we're going to continue that conversation. We had talked about how great this offense had been and how positive we were about the new management and how they were getting through to some of our younger players. And right now we are going to get into the pitching side of things, which hasn't been so great. So without any further ado, here is the rest of my conversation with my favorite Nats hot taker, Bryan King. So I want to switch to the pitching side. It hasn't been good early, but I guess, do you feel like, what concerns you more, the rotation or the bullpen, or is it just equally all kind of bad for you?
I think, with Nicolas and Littell being not great so far, it's really hurt them. Irvin hasn't been awesome. That's kind of been the disappointing side of the season so far. The bullpen, I don't fault the management so much as far as on the development side, got some better pitchers maybe, but why would you? That's kind of the last step of putting a team together. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, sure, you always knew the bullpen was going to be a liability and you're going to be doing this AAA rotation dance all season, fine. But the starters, you're like, other than Griffin, just have been a total disappointment. And these, free agents they found have just been freaking giving me, bad acid flashbacks to Patrick Corbin. Every game they're going to give up 7-8 runs. You're just like, these guys start, you're just out of it right off the bat,
Yeah.
And so that's been at least Corbin 8 innings. I don't know,
I guess do you feel like the Nats should be more aggressive about, I know like they called up Alvarez, who did a great job, and then they had to send him down just because they needed more arms, but I'm hoping to see him back soon. Rabalta did a good job in Pittsburgh, but they had to send him down because they needed more arms because they were so tired. I think the Nats had their first quality start the other night with Griffin against Atlanta, and someone told me that, and I was like, wow, we're 20-something games in the season. It's the first time we've had a pitcher go 6 innings and only give up 3 runs. It's kind of crazy. But do you think the Nats should be more aggressive, just promoting guys from Rochester?
I don't know. I mean, how could you be more? That
it's true.
Seems like there's just been the problem. I don't think there's guys in Rochester who are that great. Like the pipeline is just pretty barren, especially on the bullpen side. It feels like. And so until some of these younger, 18, whatever, these young flamethrowers get developed enough that they can come up and help. But I don't think they're trying to rush, anyone below double A this season to get up to the big club because, what's the point? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm just like, I think the ceiling this year is around 500. The offense is good enough to win half the games like,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But eventually, you're just going to like lose so many of those close games where you got to win it in the eighth or ninth inning and the bullpen's got to come in and be nails and only give up, at most one run. They're just not going to be able to do that on a consistent basis.
No,
But yeah, I
definitely.
think there's reinforcements within the organization, unfortunately, this season.
Yeah. Do you feel like, I mean, do you feel though, if the Nats were to go out, let's say after it's probably not going to be this year, but after the CBA gets fixed and there's a new set of rules, do you feel like if the Nats went and got, not necessarily stars, but just a couple competent starters, maybe a couple veteran pen arms, that they would be a wild card team?
I think, yeah, like definitely, let's say next season, if next season happens, but whatever, next
Yeah.
season actually play. Um, yeah, it looks like, again, based on early returns, looks like you got an offense, get a little more depth there with some actual good veteran hitters. But you don't need more than one or two, right?
Yeah.
Especially considering hopefully the other kid, there's some reinforcements hopefully coming from within the organization on that side. The pitching wise, they'd like need a whole new staff. I mean, Griffin on a real competitive team is what, like a fourth starter probably. Like
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I'm
true.
like, so you need an ace, you need two really good starting pitchers, you need a whole new bullpen, you need a closer. I'm like, you just have such a long list of needs, and that's where, yeah, that Gore trade suddenly looks a little suspect in hindsight, but it was hard to say at the time, I guess. But
Yeah, speaking of the Gore trade, I know that obviously it's very early. Gore's done okay for Texas. He looks up, it's kind of
it's about
like
the same.
Gore.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
he started
yeah.
strong. He gave up 5 runs the other day. You know,
Still throws a lot of pitches. He reminds me so much of Gio Gonzalez back in the day. He's another guy who's probably not going 7-8 for you. He's going,
yeah.
he got a lot of full counts. There's a lot of pitches, gets a lot of strikeouts, but he's usually up around 100 by the fifth inning. Maybe you can get him through six, but yeah, I mean, looking at that trade, I know Devin Fitzgerald. We had his father on the last couple of weeks. Devin Fitzgerald looks amazing. Obviously, Rosario's hurt still. We still don't know if he's getting TJ. There's this weird medical mystery going around that. And then Gavin Feene has been hurt as well. I mean, do you think the Nats should have kept Gore? And if so, maybe this year's going, maybe they are a wild card contender this year. Would you still have traded him given they only had him for another year or two of control? And obviously there's a labor strife. Are you looking back at what we know the Nats or what the Nats look like now? Would you rather have Gore on this team or would you rather have made the trade?
Tough, like because again, I'm like, man, they could really use another good starting pitcher, even if he is Gio
Yeah.
Gonzalez right now. It's hey, I mean, he would
Yeah.
still be the best pitcher on the staff.
Hmm.
And that's just and the return they got for him, we'll see if those some of those kids hit. Great. You wish they had not traded a pitcher for a bunch of hitting prospects and a pitcher that I'm
It's
like, I don't know if that
fair.
dude ever sees the bigs, I would be shocked. But again, it feels like they have way more good hitters in the pipeline than pitchers.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's so hard to play hindsight 2020, of course. At the time, we were all like, yeah, trade Gore, they're going to be terrible this year.
Hmm.
They might have a season next year. So, but now you're like, man, yeah, with them, they could be making noise in the wild card. And, I think that's an important part of developing the young kids is I think you develop faster, I think, if you're playing competitive games, even if you don't, no one thinks the team's going to win a World Series or even get to the, past like the playing game. They somehow but just think about what that would do for the city, the franchise.
Yeah.
You were actually in the hunt for the wild card in September. You're playing meaningful baseball games. You're competing every night. Like the pressure's higher, the stakes are higher. Like that just, I think, raises everyone's level so much versus like you're out of it by July and kind of just like going through the motions maybe. So that I think, adds value, and that would be maybe worth keeping Gore on if, yeah, it would kind of get you. Because then you're like, okay, Gore, Cavalli, Griffin, that's a decent enough starting three. It can at least take some pressure off the bullpen. Then you could make maybe a trade at the deadline. They got a lot of these young prospects. Sure, maybe trade a couple, you could, some decent bullpen guys
Mhm.
enough to just at least give you a fighting chance and play meaningful baseball. And yeah, I think that would perhaps help the organization maybe a bit more than some of these. I don't know. Again, it just depends on how the return players they got for Gore
Yeah.
pan out. But at a certain point, you kind of just got to go to battle with the horses you have or whatever, right? Like, and so you can't just keep swapping guys out and constantly kind of be getting back to that almost there, but not quite state,
Yeah.
you know?
So we're getting close out of time. Just a couple more questions, but you kind of mentioned it. But let's say in some crazy world, the pitching stabilizes. It's now July. We're approaching a deadline, and let's say the Nats are actually still they're like 500. Let's just say they're an even 500 a week before the deadline. Do you go and add someone, or is this year still just an evaluation year, and we're still building for the future?
I think again, unless you're trade, I mean, it's tough because I think given what they have to trade, like on their, the what they have to pay. You're looking at fringe players that aren't going to move. They're not like a closer away or a starting
Yeah,
pitcher away.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I said, they need like almost a whole new pitching staff. You're not getting that at the trade deadline. And if the current pitching staff somehow gets them to 500, if they're still
Yeah,
500, then you're like, well, roll with what you got. We're competitive enough. Don't sacrifice the future. But I definitely would be like, we need to add, I would go, if I'm the management, I would go to the learners and be like, you guys we need to buy some players. We need to get
yeah.
some veterans in here, someone who can kind of shore up until the reinforcements arrive in the pipeline. But, we're looking like right on the cusp. Yeah, and I would go out and get that starting pitcher, frontline guy who can go and, get a bullpen arm or two that can be reliable, shut down options.
No, definitely. I feel that way. I don't, even if they're still at 500, I don't think I would want to sacrifice the future by trading away prospects we do have. But yeah, it's time to buy some guy. It's time to open up the checkbook. I think
Yeah,
hopefully next season, hopefully, the baseball figures out the CBA. There is a 2027 season. And I would hope at that point the Nats do maybe what the Royals did a couple years ago, or even like what the O's did up there. They brought in Alonso, they brought in a couple guys, I don't think the Nats need they don't need like the biggest free agent on the market, but just a couple of solid veterans to
and you have
work
to
with.
do it all at once. Like the
Yeah.
offense is still clicking. Then okay, maybe you hold off on that stud first baseman for now. You figure your kids are doing fine, good enough. Get some of those pitchers. You can make it a multi-year process where it's like, okay, this year we're going to sign a couple pitchers to 3 or 4 year deals, and then next season we'll go out and we'll get that Jason Worth offensive type, or
Mm.
whatever your um corner outfield or whatever. I mean, well, we're pretty stacked in outfield, but anyways, yeah.
Yeah. No, I know
Um,
what you're saying there. Yeah,
but yeah, like if Ruiz still isn't cutting it and the catchers are, maybe you get a catcher, whatever. Anyways,
yeah,
like
yeah,
you can put that cherry on top, but you can kind of build there with structuring the deals in such a way that okay, we know that our like real championship window is in 2 or 3 years, but we time to start. You can't buy a whole team in one off season.
hmm
What happened to the Mets? You got to start.
yeah.
So it's like, all right, find that good, get a good pitcher, get a good, couple of bullpen guys, whatever, like, and slowly start to kind of build it up. But yeah, like have a plan, start to put those pieces in place because yeah, it can take a couple of years. I mean, even the 2011, 2012. Now, it still took years until
A
they
while.
broke
Yeah.
through. Yeah, it can take a
Yeah.
while. Like, so you just want to be ready to like. It's looking like, all right, we're getting close. Now let's start, making that final push over the mountain.
No, definitely. We're almost out of time, but I guess, do you feel more optimistic about the future of the Nats than you did when we talked a couple months ago in the off season?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to, right? Like
Yeah.
at least I think I said in this podcast, I'm like, I want the team to be entertaining. I want to be able to bet now. Like, yep, I'm, checking the box score every day, like following them online. I'm like, they're at least interested, the kids are developing. You want to see what's going on. They're playing at least fun baseball. They're still making mistakes, but now you're like, oh, any given night, they could beat anybody. So
No, I think one thing that's worth mentioning is their schedule so far has been pretty tough.
yeah,
It's not like they're around 500 playing these awful teams. They're close to 500 playing like division leading clubs, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, we'll see. But all right, we're pretty much out of time. Do you have anything you want to plug? How can we follow you on social? I know you have a band going on
yeah.
tour.
My band's actually going to be in the DC area in May 12th, playing in
Cool.
Alexandria. So you can check us out online. We're called Endorphins. Instagram handle is endorphins.ca.
I live in Alexandria. Where in Alexandria are you playing, if you know?
It's like an art space.
Like Galactic Panther or something? That'd be cool.
Galactic Panther is actually, yeah. So
Oh,
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
playing Galactic Panther. It's a cool little art space. It shouldn't be too late of a show for everyone that's our age. It needs to be in bed at a reasonable hour. So yeah, we're playing with some great bands and it should be a good time. Come say hi.
No, it's a cool venue. I'll definitely be there. I had a short film play there a couple months ago. It's cool people who run it. So yeah, come out to the Galactic Panther on May 12th. Bryan will be playing. I will probably be there with a beer. We can talk about the Nats in between sets. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you as always for stopping by, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Great. Thanks.
All right, that was our episode. Thanks again for listening. Please visit talknats.com, shopoldc.com. They kind of keep this train on the tracks, getting this show to you every week. And yeah, come down to the Galactic Panther on May 12th to see Bryan's band Endorphins. I'll definitely be there. I live not too far, a short walk away. And it's a great venue. I've been there before myself with a film thing I had, and really cool people who run it. So yeah, hopefully the Nats can figure out this whole winning games at home thing. I mean, they've been an excellent road team, pretty rough here on South Capitol Street, but hopefully this is the homestand. They turn that around. We'll be back at you next Friday. I'm not sure who the guest is yet. We're still sorting that out. I can tell you, though, we do have a pretty big name guest on the horizon, going to be coming at you sometime in the month of May, probably, but can't quite give that away. But anyway, hopefully the team will have a really good homestand. And until next Friday, go Nats.